All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your day. Welcome to Wealth Reimagined. I am your host, Mya K, and super honored to be here with you in this financial literacy space on the Family Bloodline Network. So, welcome back. Hopefully, you are back. I hope that you had an opportunity to watch the first episode of Wealth Reimagined and can't wait to hear and read. I actually haven't had an opportunity. As you can see, I am somewhere different. You might recognize my background. You just might recognize my background. But I haven't had an opportunity to jump in. I've been traveling. I had a really fun weekend with family. Got an opportunity to go to Houston. It's actually my first time in Houston. And now I am in Kentucky. You might, like I said, you might recognize my background. So it's really good to be out and about, but hoping that episode one was great and helpful and beneficial. And looking forward to reading comments, seeing if there were any questions. Really looking forward to comments and questions so that I can get an idea of just what the needs are in the community. So welcome back. Welcome back. This is part two. As I said on the prior episode, April is April 2026 and it is Financial Literacy Month. And so Financial Literacy Month is just a time where, I think a lot of people really get a lot of their education and understanding and learning around personal finance. But let's say you already have been doing life, right? And I think it's also a great time not only to learn, but to really kind of take stock of where you are. Where are your finances? What are your financial goals? What are some things you want to change? What are some things you want to learn about? There's just so many different avenues that you could take when it comes to financial literacy and Financial Literacy Month. And so I really wanted to take this, just the opening and introductions to the podcast and what we'll be going over. And for it to really make sense, I wanted to start out with some foundational things that I think are really important to your journey and to your success. Okay. But that's what Financial Literacy Month is all about. Just learning, growing, um, changing, adjusting, stopping. There might be things you need to stop doing, maybe some habits you need to break. There may be some beliefs you need to stop believing. So that's what we're here for. That's what it's going to be all about. So really looking forward to comments, questions. So please feel free to leave those um, as you watch or as you're watching. Go ahead and just drop questions and comments. I promise I'm going to get back to them. I'll be headed back home soon. So I'll have my setup back and be able to really do that and jump into that. So yeah, that I want to just go a brief overview of Financial Literacy Month. I'll probably cover that at the beginning of every episode this month, and then just talk about financial literacy, what financial literacy actually is, um, what that means, what it encompasses. So, financial literacy is basic money management, basic knowledge, basic understanding how to um, just navigate, how to protect your money, borrowing options if you get into that, saving, taking control of your spending. Those are examples. And for me, you know, I have a certain level of expertise, and my goal is to get you to where you are financially set up and stable and confident to enter into the more elaborate investing, getting involved in the stock market and S&P 500 and just all the different financial tools that you have for um, growing and making your money work for you, financial planning, things like that. But you got to have the foundational piece, and that's what we're going to cover on this episode, and really just getting you confident and ready for those next steps. So, so let's go ahead and get into what I feel. This is my opinion. This is me based off of over 20 years in the banking industry and probably about going on about 16 years in the lending aspect of that, and just things I've observed, things that I have seen, um, things that I feel have hindered people and prevented them from really getting to their goal. Um, and just my opinion of things, important steps that people miss in their journey. And it's those foundational pieces that a lot of people don't really want to do. So last week, we went over what I feel is the very first and most important thing, and that's is you have to get organized. You have to know where your stuff is. You have to be able to locate your documents. You need to know passwords, login usernames, um, websites. You need to know what your policies are, your birth certificates, your social security, your passport. The list goes on and on. And I encourage you to go back if you missed it and listen to that episode to get a little rundown of some ideas and things that you may have in your possession that you either don't know where they are, you need to find them, you need to locate them, you need to put them in a safe space. And so I encourage, if you're going to get organized digitally on your computer, great. Get your folder set up, get your website set up for your accounts. Um, or if you're going to do it old school, get you a file container, a file cabinet, whatever. Either way is fine. You just need to do something. Something needs to be done. It could be a hybrid of both. I'm actually more on the hybrid. I'm also a Zennial, that analog digital, you know, I can do both, right? I'm familiar with both. And so actually the way I'm personally set up is both ways. I have a bit of a system digitally when I'm on my computer, but I also have a pile of important documents, life insurance policies, excuse me, birth certificates, um, divorce paperwork, marriage licenses, like just things in case I need it. I have it. I know exactly where it is. It's, it's not hard. I know exactly where it is. Trust me, I know where it is. So that was what the first episode was about. It was just about getting organized. So very important. So very important. So I hope you have done that step. If not, please start there. Is as much as I don't care how long it takes. But I will say, because I am all about being productive and efficient, give yourself a deadline. So though I'm gonna be releasing episodes weekly, it might take you longer than a week to get organized, and that is okay. That is fine. But set yourself a deadline. You're gonna hear me talk about goal setting a lot because I believe in it. So set yourself a deadline, get organized. Let's say I'm looking at the date. Get organized. Be sure you have that step done by the end of April. And I'm being really generous with that. But be sure you have it done by the end of April. So April 30th, you should be organized. You should know where all your stuff is. You've had time to order it. You have time to request it. You've had time to get something to put it in. That will give you enough time to get organized. But I promise that's most important. Most important, you're gonna understand why in a minute. So you've gotten step one complete. Now it's time to take inventory. So step two, that's what we're gonna focus on. The next step. It's time to take inventory of what you found. But there's a goal because one of the most very, 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 very most important thing about being uh, financially literate is you got to have a budget. It's a dirty word. You got to have a budget. The budget's purpose, while for many people it sounds restricting, it's not. It's actually empowering, especially if it's not upside down, especially if you have more money than you do liabilities. and we'll get into all that next week. But the purpose of taking inventory is to help you get this budget going. So, in taking inventory, what does that mean? So, you've gathered all your documents. Now, we need to figure out, okay, where is all the money coming from? Where are my income streams? You may work a 9 to 5. You may be an entrepreneur. You may do contract work. You may do a 9 to 5 and a part time job. You might have a little side hustle. All of these you need to be able to account for. Where does the money come? Where is it coming in? Where is it going? Okay, so we're going to start with income. What are your income streams? Uh, okay, there we go. So, yeah, we're going to start with your income streams. Um, I listed things assuming that you are actually still working, right? So what if you're retired? What if you're watching and you're retired and you're getting Social Security? Maybe you're collecting pension. Maybe maybe you're of an age where you have to take a certain amount every year from your IRA, your individual retirement account. That's what IRA. Um, and once you get to a certain age, you have to take a required minimum distribution. So you got to take inventory, list all your income sources. You should already know where they are. You should already know what they are because you already got organized last time you watched, right? So, but that's step one. What are all my income sources? Okay. And just be sure you know that. Be sure you know how to log into that. Or